I would say fall in love with the work. Like I always say about the NBA. I've had teammates, some guys be like,
I don't watch basketball when I go home because I play too much.
I don't know. I'd be like, listen, you think if somebody work on Wall Street, when they go on vacation, they not checking the stock exchange? If you fall in love with the work aspect of it, then the success and the accolades that come with it. But you gotta fall in love with the work. Don't just fall in love with the showers of people telling you how good and great you are at it. Like if you fall in love with the work aspect of it, then everything else, I promise, will fall into place.
Nice, man. Spitting fire. Straight from the mouth of CP3.
Need motivation?
Watch Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because I need them, because I want to wake up every single day and get pushed by somebody who's doing a lot more than me, and in watching their videos, it inspires me to be bolder, to have more courage, and to go chase down the life of my dreams. And I hope it does the same for you. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Chris Paul, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2 is don't care what others think.
How do you differentiate between what the media is building as a narrative versus your narrative? Like, how do you, I find like athletes, that's what makes the athlete's job a million times harder than even playing the game.
Yeah.
Because especially now with social media where there's so much chatter, so much conversation. How do you keep your focus around this is reality and that's just noise?
It's crazy you said that because I learned something about myself even a few years ago. I can't have that clutter. Right. And when I played back in LA, I think I said this in the book too, with the Clippers, Doc Rivers, he used to talk about getting rid of the clutter. Right. So when you get home from a game, if your team lose, everybody that's with your family and all that, what they gonna do? If y'all lost the game, what they gonna say?
Yeah. Hope you're okay.
It was everybody else's fault.
Right.
Right. Like if you lose a game and you get home, everybody in your family they're gonna be like, this person wasn't doing that. That person wasn't doing that. They ain't never gonna say nothing about you, right? And so that's literally clutter, right? And the same thing I learned years ago in the playoffs. Like in the playoffs, you gotta win 4 games out of 7, right? And I don't care what anybody says about social media or whatnot, but if you win a game in the playoffs and you go on the social media and you had a great game and everybody talking about you like you the best thing since pants with pockets, then you might let your guard down, right? And the same thing if you don't have a good game and you go out there and everybody's talking about how sorry you are, you might lose a little bit of confidence. So for me, I try to block out all of that noise. You know what I mean? So that's like when the playoffs start, I don't want to see what ESPN talking about. I don't want to see what Bleacher, I don't want to see what none of them talking about because you got to just stay locked in and stay focused. And as long as you know what's true, you know what I mean? Yeah. People are always going to say something. Always. They're going to try to have some type of narrative or whatnot. But as long as you know what's real, I think that's what can help you keep your sanity.
Rule number 3 is have respect.
What does it take to have those 15 guys really be, I guess, close enough or respectful enough to really win one?
Y'all been on teams and locker rooms and stuff. I think at the end of the day, you got to respect the other person. Right? Just respect the other person's craft and what they bring to the table. I've been on some teams that we hang out, we kick it and all that stuff like that, but I've been on some teams where it wasn't like that, right? I'll tell you this, my favorite teammate my whole career is a guy named David West, right? Me and D West, my wife Jada and his wife Leslie was tight, like always together talking. Me and D West didn't hang out and go to dinner and stuff like that, right? I still talk to D West now, you know what I'm saying? But on the court, we were so locked. Right, because there was a respect factor there, and we led in different ways. I was more vocal. D West sort of just led with how he played, but it was a trust factor there. You don't have to be buddy with everybody, but there's a thing that you don't want to let the man next to you down. Right. I think that's the teams that's the most successful. When you so invested, you invested for him, right? Like of course I want to win, dog, but I want to see you win. Yeah. And you can feel that. Y'all know what it's like when you got a team like that, when you look at your teammate and he probably come hit your helmet and be like, let's get it, let's go, you know? And so that's just my opinion.
Rule number 4 is stay consistent.
What is your relationship to failure also? Like missing that shot, is it a big deal or are you just moving on? Another rep, another rep, another rep.
I was in the gym last night. I was telling you with the kid, Mercy Miller last night. We had to end this drill. We had to end with this drill that I do where you shoot a 3 in this corner, and then you run to the other end of the court, shoot a 3 in this corner, run to this corner, come to this corner, right? So that's 4 shots. Then you go to this wing, 5, that wing, 6, this wing, 7, this wing, 8, top of the key, 9, this top, 10.
Yeah.
Non-stop. So sprint, 10 shots. Got to make 7 out of 10, and we done with the workout for the day. I went, knocked it out, whatnot. Now Mercy got to go.
10 for 10?
I went 8.
8.
I went 8 out of 10. Mercy's turn to go. First time, I think he might have got 5 out of 10. Went again, didn't get it. Went again, didn't get it. Went again, didn't get it. Kept getting the 6 out of 10, and he would have to, because you had to just make 7 out of 10. He'd get to the last one, missed it. He might have did this drill 10 times. 10 times. And my son was there too. And I told Chris, I said, listen, Mercy can work out with me any day, because he didn't complain. He didn't do nothing. This kid's about to be a senior in high school. He didn't complain. He just kept breathing. I kept talking to him like, don't worry about it. Just keep going, keep going. And sure enough, after 10, 11 tries, he got it. He got it. And I appreciated that from him. And I told him at the end of our workout, because he was like, man, appreciate you letting me come work out. I said, no, thank you, because you make it fun for me. And that's the fun part about having 12 kids in the NBA, having all of these young kids coming up and training with them and working out with them, because that's the exciting part for me, is to know that when I'm done playing, I'll still be watching and be like, man.
Yeah.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5 is learn to balance.
What's the lesson that you think you carry in your heart the most, that stays with you right now till this day, that you feel lives with you?
Man, it sounds so generic, but I say the work ethic, right? But it's crazy because I could sit here and say, you gotta work, it's the work ethic, but I will also say it's the balance, because it's the one thing that I also learned about my family, and my mom said this, and I never even thought about this aspect of it, was that my grandfather worked so hard, and I think I said this in the book, that was all he knew. So he never actually, I don't want to say enjoyed our family, but he never like went on vacation. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying you got to go to another country or something like that, but just try to make sure that there's balance, and make sure that, of course, you got to work to provide, but make sure at some point you take some time to enjoy the people around you and your family. Because my mom said that the one time that my granddad actually went on vacation was when my grandmother was about to pass away. And so it wasn't until he seen that he was going to lose my grandmother that he was like, okay, I need to do something with her.
Rule number 6 is spend time with the right people.
What has been their biggest pivot in life? What has been that moment that helped shape Chris Paul?
I've been there for the birth of both of my kids. My wife is unreal. She the strongest. She everything in our family. I'm thinking about like the death of my grandfather, you know, and how that just seems prevalent, because even now, 20 years later, I just work, right? Just do the work. My wife out of town with some of our homegirls, my kids, we left the house this morning like 7:30 to take them to school, but I was up in the gym at 5:15, you know what I mean? Like working out. And I just think about doing the work. I don't know, and some people may say why or whatnot, but I just think about, like, even when I was growing up and it might be a party or something like that going on and some people go and they say, why you ain't going? I always say, like, I want to enjoy things maybe later in life, right? Because doing the work, it's just always been about that. And so, I don't know, probably as I get older, the word gratitude just means more and more to me. Just appreciate my family. And then I'll tell you this is crazy that you said that, is that I've always been a people pleaser, right? Always, just always like a people pleaser. And that's like, I've always had a hard time saying no, right? To this or that, you'll show up here, all right, I got you, this, that, and the other. But the biggest thing I've been trying to work on is showing up for the people who show up for me, right? Like, I let people do me dirty for so long, talk crazy about me, still show up for them, still do that. But it's just recently, I had a conversation with my wife. It's like, I'm done with that. And so probably just the pivot is investing more time in those who deserve it.
Rule number 7 is prioritize your wellness.
Your body is your valuation is how you're performing on the court, right?
No
Like, so
question.
everything stems from that. And if you're not prioritizing that and making that first, everything else kind of
so my
falls
book,
away, right?
My book tour that's coming up that I start in New York, like, of course,
starting right here, right now, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing it.
Oh yeah.
This is
yeah.
the book. Yeah.
Well, when I say like that, I'm home right now.
Yeah,
I'm in
I get it.
LA.
I gotcha.
So when I go to New York, right? So when I travel, of course, my wife, my brother, Carmen, everyone that works with me, Jess will be there. But guess what? My basketball trainer gonna be there. I'm gonna have somebody with me lifting, and I'm gonna have a masseuse, a bodywork person with me who will travel with me. So if I gotta be at a podcast or something at 8, we'll probably start at 5. Right? Because all of that is necessary.
That's what being a professional is.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
So like, as soon as we finish, I'll get to my phone, probably call my wife first, but then see what's for lunch.
Rule number 8 is focus on winning.
61, in a lot of ways, it seems like to me at least, it's a love letter to your grandfather. What lesson are you taking from him as you head into your next chapter in basketball in Golden State?
Man, I don't know. You know, throughout that book, it definitely was a love letter, not just to him, but to all my family and everyone who supported me, and just talking about life and how it's evolved over the years. And I think going into this next chapter in the Bay is, once again, it's about gratitude. It's about hard work, but it's about gratitude and being grateful for the opportunity to still get a chance to play at a high level.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that gratitude, I'm curious, what is the most meaningful communication, conversation maybe, that you've had with a member of the Golden State Warriors since that trade went down?
Not too much, just they focusing on winning, you know, just like myself. And I think when you've been around, you know, these guys for so long, and Steve Kerr and everybody, I mean, Mike is the GM, Dunleavy. I played against Mike. I think everyone pretty much knows each other pretty well and understands, you know, it's only one reason why everybody's playing at this point.
Rule number 9 is be authentic.
I think if you ask a number of people, they'll call you an asshole.
For sure.
Has that negatively affected your career or life in any way?
How so, though? You know what I mean?
Just with the trades and things. You're going from team to team to team is, you know, rubbing people the wrong way. Somebody embraces you because you're on the court talent. They don't really know you, bro. Then you're in the facility, then you're being Chris Paul, and that turns them off.
I totally get what you're saying. So the trades, right, going from New Orleans to LA, right? That wasn't like no team issue. Going from LA to Houston, that wasn't like they trade me. That's a whole nother situation of how it was like presented. So that was the only time I got traded, right, not knowing, was from Houston to OKC. You know what I'm saying? Like OKC to Phoenix was worked out with them. They was helping me get somewhere that was closer to home. Rubbing guys the wrong way or whatnot, like I said, if that happens or has happened or whatnot, what you learn too in playing in this league a long time is a lot of guys out here will be private friends, but public talking crazy, right? I'm telling you, and I know this for a fact. A lot of these guys who go out here saying this, saying that, they also hitting you on the other end saying, yo, can you help me do this? I'll be a great vet on your team. You know what I mean? So, even after my trade went through to Houston, I had a conversation with Ballmer. You know what I mean? Like, all this stuff is real. Like, as men, as humans, you got to be able to have those conversations. And I also had a job, too, as the union president for 8 years, which that came with a lot of with it, right? With a lot of guys who didn't like the way this was done, didn't like the way that was done. It's some people who'll go out there and talk crazy on my name or something like that because of how things was handled. When you're in a leadership position, right, and this is real talk, and you guys have been in it too, sometimes you gotta do things and you can't worry about being liked, right? Because you gotta actually like make real decisions. Like sometimes, y'all know when they talk about like coaches, right? Or they got assistant coaches, right? And everybody who can say, oh, I would have did it like this, or I should have did this. You know what I mean? I've been in a situation where I've had to, with the executive committee, Andre Iguodala, man, that's one of my dogs right there. And even though we battled against each other for a long time, Golden State, when I was in Houston and LA, we done been in a lot of crazy conversations for the betterment of the players in the league that ain't always gone the way the guys particularly wanted to go. You know what I'm saying? Like that bubble. If y'all knew how many guys was calling saying, what the hell you doing? Why we going down there and playing? But you learn to live with it.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is never give up.
When the career part is having its hiccups and slip-ups and whatever else in the past, what did you find when you get that can't give up now? Like, where does that come from?
So I'll tell you where that came from was when I got traded from Houston to OKC, like to be honest, I was mad, like really mad because I've been told one thing and another thing happened. And when I went to Houston, we moved like 15 people to Houston, right? So to not know and to know that I was going to Oklahoma City, I was hot. I was in Augusta, Georgia, and I didn't know what that meant. Right? I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what was next. It was the first time I'd been blindsided with something like that. There's a song by Mary Mary, right? It's called Can't Give Up Now. Because like I said in the book, I grew up in church. I was in church 4 or 5 days a week. And I remember listening to that song and like getting emotional. And it was like, look, the trade didn't happen. The ESPN, everybody talking about it or whatnot. I learned this a while ago in the league is that ain't nobody gonna feel sorry for you. And like you said, I've learned that too in this business, that there's two different type of people. People who gonna feel bad for themselves and just sulk, and then there's other people who gonna get to work. And so that was my mindset. It was like, all right, I think I'm done. All right, cool. I put my head down and do the work. Yeah. And so that was, my whole energy going into that.
I always loved like going back to Wake even. I was like, all right, this guy is tough. He's smart. He's efficient. This guy's he's everything I want in a player. And as we look at the culmination of the career, it's like everything I believe in is that you're the guy. And I still believe that. And yet you've been so unlucky. You've been so unlucky, man. And what's the worst one?
Ooh, really? What's the worst one? Damn, that's tough, ain't it? That's tough when you can't figure out which one. Imagine what it's like for me, or especially for my wife. That's who is really hard on. I'll tell you the truth. So a very unlucky one was the Portland situation. When I stole the ball with this hand, this finger got caught in a jersey, and I got a spiral fracture and had to have 16 screws in my hand. I remember I got home that night, and like she's the one who has to deal with me, right? And I'm serious when I say that because there has been a few of those unlucky situations is that I give myself that night, right? Like I give myself that night to be upset, to cry if it is a situation or whatnot. And then I always tell myself is the next morning is over with, right? You got to get back to work. You got to start rehab. You got to do what you got to do. And let me tell you, people are going to talk. Always. Why not? You know what I mean? But I always say there are people who talk and there are people that do, right? So I could feel sorry for myself and sit on my ass and be like, damn, why did this happen? You know what I mean? And that may happen that first night, but then the next day, I'm right back to work. So that happened in Portland. A playoff series with OKC, that was really tough. You know what I mean? Because it's a whole nother story. We'll talk about that offline at some point. But when the turnover happened, the foul and all that stuff, Russ hit the 3 free throws, then we run the play and don't get a shot up. I was messed up in the locker room all the way to when I got home. I remember I was just up all night, like, because you feel like you let people down. You know what I mean? So that one was probably one of the toughest.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag Believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome. For 10 more amazing rules from Kobe Bryant, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be like taking candy from a baby. No wonder Mike wins all these championships.
Life has this cyclical nature where it's, what you do on Monday is fantastic, but then Tuesday is a bad day. But guess what? There's Wednesday.